Long Branch is brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Fording Electric, and Gales Gas. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. And now, live from the Long Branch in downtown Pierre, it's award-winning KCCR Sports Director, John Winkler.
And a good evening as we welcome you here to the Long Branch as we have another edition of Coach's Corner. We'll talk with Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors, momentarily. Also talk with Coach Tiffany Stosher of the Pierre Governor volleyball team. And then we'll talk with the Lyman Raiders head coach and Mike Kiefer and the Potter County Battler head coach and Vern Smith as they get ready for quarterfinal games in both Class 9AA and 9B coming up here this weekend. We will talk with Coach Steve Steele next. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. You know, the LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pierre. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner, Wednesday evenings.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you $250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit GatewayFordToyota.com.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Oahe Federal Credit Union member? At Oahe Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Oahe Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Oahe Federal Credit Union.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to the Long Branch, as we welcome in Coach Steve Steele, the Peer Governors, as they get ready for their game, their first playoff game, 11 AA playoffs against Watertown Arrows, in a team that you just saw a couple weeks ago here at home. You won 52-42, a lot of points, almost 1,000 yards, almost 100 points combined between the two teams. But this week, why is it going to be different? Why is it going to be maybe a lower scoring game, or at least for Watertown, why are they going to have less points than what they did?
Well, I think the second time you play a team, everyone makes a little bit more adjustments, and I think usually the second go-around, whatever side of the ball on both teams had a more successful first game usually has a little harder time the second game, just because that side of the ball doesn't feel like they need to make quite as many adjustments, and the other side of the ball feels like they need to make a lot. So I'm not saying there won't be any points, but I think that it will be a lower scoring game overall.
Which I guess, if you're a betting guy, that you probably want to take that, the bet they're going to score less points, because scoring 94 points is hard to, unless it's a blowout and you get a whole bunch of points for one team, it's probably going to be that case. But this is interesting, and what we've seen in AA the last couple of years is that even at the number 6 seed and the 7 seed, Aberdeen Central gave you guys a game and could potentially give Brookings can't overlook them because they'll get upset if that happens. And from 1 through 7, there's a lot of parity, and there's a lot. It's pretty much wide open for 11 AA.
Yeah, this should be a really exciting 3 weeks. And really having no idea how things play out, and we could check our scores tomorrow night after the game and be like, you wouldn't be the bettor's favorite, but at the same point, it's not super shocking. I think there should be a lot of good games. The AA and the AAA playoffs, I think, will both be very, very interesting in terms of those first-round matchups.
You guys are taking on the Watertown Arrows, 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night. We'll talk in the pregame about it as well, but it's a Thursday to Thursday, and you do this every year, but what's different about having a Thursday to Thursday, because you have that Friday to either take off, prepare, whatever it might be. You don't have that usual 4 days of the school week to get ready for a game.
It definitely gives you one less day of practice. I mean, even if you want to practice on Friday physically, the odds that any coach is going to have their game plan ready for the next week, 12 hours after the football game of last week is done, it's just not realistic. So that's why I said with us, we had film assignments for our kids last Friday, and we didn't meet in person. We didn't have anything physical. Again, just because, we weren't going to lie to the kids and say, oh, yeah, we've got Watertown all figured out. We've got both their games broken down, even though we just got done playing about, 18 hours ago. So we didn't do that. We just waited till Monday, and waiting till Monday, you do lose that extra day of practice, that you would get on a Friday game. So it is a little different, but, I think coming off of a tough game, it's good for us to get out there as quick as we can.
You mentioned that that you had the kids watch film, and you guys use the huddle system. Is there a way that are you able to check? Is it just an honor system that they did, or are you able to check how many guys watch their film like they're supposed to?
We're able to check and see how much time they spent watching film. That's the wonderful thing with technology right now. We put a lot of notes. We mark it up. Our coaching staff does a great job of really going through each play and picking out what needs to get better on every play, and also saying, hey, this was really good. This we need to work on. So our guys spend a lot of time going through all that stuff and kind of going through our previous game of figuring out what we need to touch up, and then we'll move on to that next opponent and say, okay, here's what we need to be looking at.
Watertown, again, your opponent on Thursday tomorrow is against the Watertown Arrows. So as you prepare for that game, what did you see from their last contest in Week 9 that maybe it was a little bit different than what you saw when you actually faced them back in Week 7?
Well, I think the interesting thing with them is there are 2 games in between the last time we've seen them and now. They had a 4 down front against Mitchell. They had a 3 down front against Yankton. So, they were kind of 2 different teams in that sense, where they were very, very aggressive against Mitchell. Extra guy in the line of scrimmage. Their linebackers were a little closer and more aggressive. And then against Yankton, they kind of backed everybody up and kind of were more react and played more coverage. So, obviously I kind of feel like after we threw 60 times last game, I know which one we'd get, but you never know. It's one of those things where we saw 2 different things. We got to prepare for 2 different things, and be ready for all situations.
Lincoln Keenels, Jack Merquan, there's a lot that we can talk about the offense, but those 2 guys can break single-season records, career records here this week, and potentially next week as well. They'll probably, if they don't get it this week, could potentially get it next week as long as you guys win in advance. But that's a special thing, because these guys are juniors who played well as sophomores but have really grown and then throughout their junior year, and got to be a lot of fun on that sideline to coach them too.
Yeah, I mean they're a really fun group of kids. I mean all the guys are, but those guys they're special kids. They're really smart. They're really in the classroom. They do a great job. They're good kids in the community. But they're a lot of fun. And I said Jack always knows. I said I'll give him a hard time because he asks a lot of questions. And I always give him a hard time. But he's a really good kid. He works extremely hard at what he does. And we're just very proud of the success they've had this season.
Talking with Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governors. They take on Watertown tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff. Pregame will start at 6:30. Greg Dean will join me for the call. When you guys lost last Friday, and we can kind of go back to it, and maybe you don't want to go back to it, but it was a tough loss. Your takeaway now that it's been nearly a week since that loss, what was your biggest takeaway from that game?
Well, I think we've got to make sure we realize that when we get into those games where we need to make that play, I mean that was the overwhelming theme of that game was every opportunity we had to make the play of a drive, we didn't for the most part. I think we were 2 of 6 on 4th down, and they were 3 of 4 or 5 or something. So, when you look at that, I mean, when you get to those plays where it's do or die, this is the play we need. We didn't make enough of them, and, ultimately that's what it was. And we've obviously all got different things we could have done a little bit better, a little bit different, but, ultimately it comes down to, when it gets to that one moment, at times we didn't put the kids in the best position, and at times the other team executed better than we did.
And a lot of good teams find ways to turn a negative into a positive. How did you guys handle that in looking to turn that into a positive? Obviously, you can talk about all you want, turning it into positive until you go out there and execute that. But what did you do to talk to the team and the coaching staff to turn that loss into something that propel you this week and beyond here in the playoffs? Well,
the important thing that we had to remember, I mean, it was a long time since we lost. It was a long time since that Harrisburg game in the beginning of the season. So it's better to get that bitter taste in your mouth in the regular season, even if it's the last game as opposed to tomorrow night when the season's over. So it was good to be humbled when we were. It was a good refocusing moment for everybody, coaches and kids, just to kind of get back and be like, okay, hey, we got to do things right all the time. We've got to be on our game all the time, or we can lose. And we've just it's that good humbling, good grounding moment just to kind of put you back and bring yourself down. Like I said, after that long winning streak where you just kind of feel like, hey, we're going to pull it out in the end. We're not playing great now, but we'll turn it on when we need to. It just doesn't work that way.
And of course, the Governors are looking for their 5th straight state championship, and all 4 have been different leading up to now trying to go for this 5th one. And even this 5th one will be different if you're able to get to it, because you haven't faced a Week 9 loss going in the playoffs like the other 4 state championships, or maybe you have. So maybe was it the first one then that you guys lost in Week 9? Okay, so it's still, though it has been a while, and obviously all those kids that you weren't even in high school yet when that happened. So they're dealing with it for the first time. Yeah, it's interesting to think about that. But so and it's fun to have a different road to get to. Yes, you're the 3 seed like you were last year, but a different road to get to that state championship again. If you guys are able to get to that point.
Yeah, and we've just got to take that approach. We can't be worried about the state championship. Right now all we've got to worry about is Watertown. We definitely cannot afford to overlook anything. We can't afford to have any focus on anything outside of the game for tomorrow night. And it's one of those things where, as a coaching staff, as kids, we've got to do whatever we got to do to get through tomorrow night. And then whatever's left, we'll figure it out and move on to the next one, But we can't worry about saving this or saving that, or there's nothing to save it for right now, And that was kind of the conversation we had with the kids all week was, that was our last Monday practice, unless you earn another one. This was our last Tuesday practice, unless you earn another one. It's our last carb feed tonight, unless you earn another one. So it's just been that mentality of, this is it unless you guys get the next one. So I think our guys are in a really good spot mentally, and, I think the focus was tremendous all week.
And that's the other point, too, that I was going to ask you about is that Brookings would be the team, as long as they win, would be the team next week that you would face as long as you guys win, too. And you just played them in Week 9, so that taste and you're wanting that revenge. I know, after that loss, I think a lot of the kids were going, hey, let's get right back on the field. Let's beat them this time. Let's go get a win. But you got to go to another opponent. You got to get to another opponent to get to that point, which is hard and easy maybe to do. That the fact that you guys are on the losing end may be a little bit easier, but it's easy for both of those teams, Brookings and Pierre, to overlook their first-round opponents saying, we got another shot at these guys again.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've been very proud of our guys this week. no one's really brought up anything about anything past this first round. You know, everyone's been focused and locked in on Watertown and just continuing to understand that, hey, everything past Watertown's irrelevant because we haven't earned it yet. And until we earn it, we're not going to waste our time thinking about it.
Coach Steve Steele, the Peer Governors, as they take on Watertown tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, 6:30 kickoff here on KCCR, and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Coach, before I let you go, always ask you this, but what's it going to take to knock off Watertown tomorrow night?
Defensively, we've got to limit the big plays, and then offensively, we've got to find a way to have some balance and you know, not be forced to drop back 60 times. So if we can have some balance and you know, keep them having to have long drives to score, then I think we'll be fine.
Coach Steve Steele, the Peer Governors. Coach, I appreciate the time as always, and good luck tomorrow night. We'll talk we'll talk tomorrow morning for our picks, but good luck tomorrow night.
Sounds good. Thanks, John.
Coach Steve Steele, the Peer Governors. We will return here live at the Long Branch and talk with Coach Tiffany Stouscher of the Peer Governor volleyball team. You're listening to Coach's Corner live at the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to Downtown Pier and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street, Downtown Pier.
There wasn't always a windmill in Millbank or a vinegar museum in Roslyn. Someone had to paint the graffiti mural on the Turtle Creek Spillway. And before First Dakota filed the first charter in 1872, you couldn't bank in South Dakota. Every timeless institution, tradition, and thriving business was started somewhere by someone who had a dream and the passion to make it happen first. What will be your South Dakota first? Visit firstdakota.com/first. Member FDIC.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
As long as you have a local cooperative, you'll never farm alone. At CHS Midwest Cooperative, our team is your team, ready to help you make the decisions that are vital to your operation. From the seed, plant health, and marketing the grain, to fuel to keep you running, the feed to supplement your herds, and the financing programs to make it all possible. We're here for you. Give CHS Midwest Cooperative a call today and let us show you the value of the co-op. Local, loyal, and trusted for generations.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
When you want the best prices and best selection, go to Wegner Auto in Pierre. The certified sales staff at Wegner Auto will provide you service after the sale and how to get easy financing. Check out their website, WegnerAuto.com, or stop in. They have the best prices and won't be undersold. Wegner Auto has the region's largest selection with over 280 new and quality pre-owned vehicles. GM certified pre-owned vehicles give you peace of mind with their 12-month or 12,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty and 5-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Log on to WegnerAuto.com or stop by Wegner Auto in Pierre, South Dakota's oldest auto dealer since 1907.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here live at the Long Branch, as we are joined with Coach Tiffany Stosher, the Peer Governor volleyball team, as they picked up a 3-set sweep over the Brookings Bobcats last night. In one of their last 2 games, they have Sioux Falls Jefferson on Tuesday. But, Coach, as you are now basically 24 hours removed from that win, your biggest takeaway on that sweep over Brookings?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway was that we finally came around to playing the way we need to be playing at the postseason. I didn't think our last 3 matches we were quite there. Knew we could play better. Just wasn't an all-around effort. I thought last night was a lot better.
And that was a team that was struggling, had lost 5 straight, had been swept in all 5, and you guys made that go to 6. And you feel bad for a team that's been struggling like that, but at the same time, you don't feel bad enough to be, well, we'll let you win this one. You took advantage of the fact that they had been struggling and played really well.
Yeah, we've been in their shoes, so I feel it's our turn to dominate, and so at the end of a season when we're feeling confident, when we're feeling we're playing some good volleyball, I want the girls to go out and experience what it's like to be on the other end. And so Brookings is getting better. I think they get better each game, and certainly next year they're even going to be a better program. But it was fun to be on the upside of things, and the girls are starting to believe in themselves.
As we get close to the end of the season, we just talked with Coach Steele about playing Watertown in the 11AA playoffs. Right now, if the season ended today, you guys would be playing Watertown in the Sodak 16. A team that you saw all the way back at the beginning of the season, and obviously you're not going to jump ahead because you still got Sioux Falls Jefferson, but the standing watch and the scoreboard watching is going on, just trying to figure out who you might play, especially because those standings and the whole season will not be over until the Saturday after you guys are done. So you have a long ways away, and that's trying to watch the standings and trying to add some points here and there just to try and get maybe a head start on maybe an opponent.
Right. I've got 3 kind of circled that it possibly could be for us, and I'm pretty confident that we'll be in one of those 3. At least we know, finally for the first time I feel good saying, yeah, we're going to have a home game, and so that's something predictable. That's something that the girls had to earn and that we worked for all season long. I mean, it's they came out strong and won those 7 first games, which are turning out to be huge for us. You get that high seed, and sometimes you just get it, but to keep it, there's some teams you see consistently dropping now, and so to keep that seed is what's hard, and so the girls have done it all season long.
Now, you mentioned teams that are dropping. One team that's moving up, Sioux Falls Jefferson. They almost got a win against Washington last night, went to 5 sets. I know, again, I just mentioned that you're just 24 hours away from winning that game last night, but have you started to break down that film against Washington and Jefferson to see what Jefferson was doing so well to almost beat Washington?
Well, I did. When we got home from our game, I was able to watch the last 2 sets of the Sioux Falls, Washington, Jefferson. So I saw the battle, saw things going back and forth. I've watched Jefferson play in a couple other matches. I haven't got to break down that film yet, but that's what the plan is for tomorrow, Friday, and Monday. Is we're going to watch it as a team, go through some things, and kind of solidify what we need to do, but still continue to work on some things I think we can improve on. So. I knew they were good at the beginning. They're a brand new school, and so sometimes you have to work some things out. They got kids from a variety of different schools they just all match together, and it takes a little bit of time to gel. Our girls have been playing together for a while, so we saw them this summer in a big Pentagon tournament, and are familiar a little bit with some of them. They're tall, they're big girls, and they get up and swing from all areas. So. They gave Huron a hard time. Now I saw them give Yankton a hard time. Now they're, Sioux Falls, Washington is the top team. And so when they're going down to the wire with teams like that, that they've really improved.
Yeah, and because you mentioned, too, that they're a new team, so they're figuring things out. Because at the first part of the season, it looked like, well, that last part of the year was going to be relatively easy compared to maybe the middle part of the season. But in the last couple of weeks, it's proven to be a little bit different, that Jefferson is going to be a really good test to finish out the regular season.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for us, and I don't know if the girls know just what's at stake here. I'm not sure that we can, if we don't beat Jefferson, if we can keep that 3 spot and what that means in terms of SODAC matchups and possible state tournament matchups. And so it's a big game for us. But I know I believe in our girls, and I know that if they show up to play, one thing when I was watching Washington and Jefferson last night, and Coach Kusler said, man, wouldn't it be nice to play a 5-set game and be home on the road and be home before 10.
Yeah.
You know, they're in Sioux Falls. Most of their away games are close by. So, you know, the 3-hour travel is not something they experience all the time like we do. So they're driving here on a weeknight, you know, and, you know, we're going to give it everything we got. So we're going to make it tough for them.
Talking with Coach Tiffany Stosher here of the Pierre Governor volleyball team as they're now 15-4 in the season. They take on Sioux Falls Jefferson next Tuesday to wrap up the regular season, and then we'll get ready for the SODAC 16 on Thursday, November 11th. And, yeah, it is a for sure deal that you guys will be at home and have a home playoff game to try and qualify for the state tournament, which is huge. And we've talked about before, this will be the first time since the SODAC 16 has been around that you guys get a chance to host in a winner-take-all state qualifying game, which is – and the crowd has continually gotten better and better. I mean, we've seen more show up. The student section was a big student section last night, which is always fun to see.
I don't know if people know how big of a deal that is to have the support that, you know, the community support like we do. And in the locker room before the game last night, I said, you know, U11, there's 11 on our varsity, U11 did this, you know, and you brought this crowd here and the community support and the excitement and this environment is what defines you. And, you know, I think they're starting to believe in it. We had a little kids camp today. There's 125 little grade school kids in it. And so there's, you know, they're kind of rejuvenating this community, and it's exciting, and I think people will follow if you provide excitement like that.
Yeah, you mentioned it last night in the post-game show that you're having that little Govs camp here today and then next Wednesday as well, and had it the previous Wednesday. But to have over 100 kids come in, grade school kids come in and want to practice, want to learn with the high school, the varsity volleyball team, the high school volleyball team, that's really huge to have a huge number. I know it makes you a little bit more stressful trying to corral that many kids, but that is huge for Pierre Governor volleyball in the future.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the season, you know, one of our team goals was we want to change the tradition. We want to change what Governor volleyball means, and I think to have that much of a following and to have kids looking up to you, you know, looking up to our high school girls in a way that they seem to be doing is a big deal, you know, and they really are finding that goal of changing things for the better.
Again, talking with Coach Tiffany Stosher here of the Pierre Governors as they will take on Jefferson on Tuesday to finish out the regular season. 6:40 with coverage here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports to watch. First serve will be at 7 o'clock. You know, and I know I've mentioned this before and I've asked this question, but as you now deal with it a little bit more and get farther into how much you've been at home to close out the season, because it feels like it's been a really long time since you guys last went on the road. That's got to be huge. That's got to be a really good feeling, and probably maybe you've seen it in practice that the girls are a little bit more rested, not having to travel.
Yeah, you can see that, and especially now, you know, we just entered the second quarter. I think about these kids, and they go to school all day. You know, a lot of them have workouts in the morning, then they go to school all day, then they come to practice, they have jobs, they've got homework at night, and sometimes I'm just not sure how they get it all crammed into one day. And so some exhaustion sets in. So when we were traveling those late nights, 2 or 3 a week, you could definitely see it, and I've seen some of that stress relieved a little bit.
Yeah, and I would say that too. I'm not sure how I could not do what they're doing right now. I don't know how they get it done, but they're getting it done, and they're getting it done well. Of being a 15-4 on the season, and this team has found different ways to win, have been able to spread the ball around, especially last night. You know, Avery had 17 kills, but there was multiple girls. They had 6 different girls with multiple kills on the night, which is a recipe for probably make a deep state tournament run, correct?
Yeah, when we can balance the attack like that, you know, that's when we're playing our best volleyball. And certainly Avery's going to have her numbers, and she's at another level. But when we can balance out all of our other hitters to where teams they can't forget about them. You can't just focus on Avery because everybody else can contribute. And that's when we're playing our best volleyball, and that's what we need to be doing at the end of the season.
I'm talking with Coach Tiffany Stosher here, the Pierre Governors, and before I let you go, and I know you haven't really been able to fully break down everything for Sioux Falls Jefferson, but since they play next Tuesday, you guys play next Tuesday before Coach's Corner comes back up next Wednesday, what's it going to take to knock off Jefferson next week to finish out the season with the win at 16-4?
It's going to take everything we got. We have to be playing state tournament volleyball, end-of-season volleyball at this time, and we need to be peaking right now. I think that's where we're at. I think that the way they're practicing, there isn't a team more hungry than Pierre Governors to find a state tournament. You know, it's been too long, and I know that they're mentally going to be ready. I'm not even worried about that. Physically, they're in game shape. They're ready for they're ready for state tournament. 3 games in 3 days. They're ready to battle. I think we're there, and so I'm excited for the game.
Coach Tiffany Stosher of the Peer Governors. Coach, I appreciate the time as always. It's always fun talking to you, and looking forward. I don't want to say I want to get to the end of the season because I've been enjoying, and I'm sure you've been enjoying this season and how much fun it's been, but boy, it just feels like it's taken forever for us to get to the end of the season and get to that SODAC 16 game because it's just so exciting right now. It's not the point of where you're just trying to get to the end of the season just to get it over with. We want to get to the end of the season because we want to see what this Peer Governor team can do.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I'm ready to know who we're going to play in the SODAC and have that game. I think the community's exploding and our girls are ready, and it's going to be a fun night.
They take on Sioux Falls Jefferson, do the Peer Governor volleyball team on Tuesday to close out the regular season. 6:40 will start coverage, 7 o'clock at First Serve here on KCCR, and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Coach, I appreciate the time as always. Good luck next Tuesday.
Thanks, John.
We will return here in the second half of the show as you're listening to KCCR Pier, a Riverfront broadcasting station. We'll talk with the Lyman head coach and Coach Mike Kiefer coming up next. You're listening to the Coach's Corner, live from the Long Branch here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Dale and DT here for the LB.
You know, Dale, the Long Branch offers variety, live music, and drink specials to help you unwind.
True, but you have got to try one of the most diverse menus available.
Got to get in a shout-out for their wings. Some of the best in town. Tuesdays, they have wing specials and a killer selection of flavors.
And now, the LB is home of the KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday nights up on the big stage.
Come for the food, stay for the fun. The LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street in downtown Pier.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pier area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
At Avera Health Plans, health insurance is more than just coverage. It's about making connections. We connect you with quality health care so you're covered when you need it. To health coaches and nurses who help meet your health goals. And to a quality network of providers, specialists, and 24/7 virtual care. Our focus is on your everyday well-being. Wherever you are along the journey, choose our health plan with connections. Connect with your agent or visit averahealthplans.com.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit .com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here to Coach's Corner on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Joining me is Coach Mike Kiefer of the Lyman Raiders as they take on the Timberlake Panthers coming up here on Thursday, tomorrow evening. We'll be in Lyman, a home game for the Raiders. And Coach, as we welcome you in here, and it's good to talk to you and an opportunity to talk about your team because we're going to get to this game because there's a real big
building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
As we welcome you back here to Coach's Corner on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Joining me is Coach Mike Kiefer of the Lyman Raiders as they take on the Timberlake Panthers coming up here on Thursday, tomorrow evening. We'll be in Lyman, a home game for the Raiders. And Coach, as we welcome you in here, and it's good to talk to you and an opportunity to talk about your team because we're going to get to this game because there's a real big good matchup between you guys. But this team has been very good for Lyman all season. Just one loss so far to the Wall Eagles, who is not in 9AA. So what have you liked from your team the most at this point in the season?
I think we've been a consistent football team, and on both offense and defense, our defense has played well, and our offense has definitely been able to put up some points. But I think when I think about our team, I think consistent, whether it's our line play, whether it's our specialist play, our special teams, we've been a consistent football team all year long.
And one of the guys that's in the backfield, a couple of guys you have in the backfield, but one guy in particular, Colton Collins, who has been your workhorse and will continue to be your workhorse, a senior this year, 6'2", 190-pound senior. Boy, he is a special guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's something else. I'm not sure what his yards after contact are, but our offensive line does a tremendous job for him, but he grinds out a lot of extra tough yards, and not a guy that shies away from contact. Has a huge heart and definitely one of the leaders of our team.
Tegan Cornell is your quarterback, 185-pound junior. He kind of adds the dynamic and another threat to what you guys have in the backfield.
Yeah, he's a dual threat kid. Throws the ball really well, and definitely a threat on his feet. And he's been, like I said, a consistent player, and he's taking care of the ball. Very minimal interceptions and turnovers, and kind of leads the way and is our general on the field.
You guys played Stanley County last Thursday, got that first-round win. You shut out the Buffaloes. You had 338 yards on the ground against that Buffalo team. When you look at that game on Thursday, what you take from it, and obviously every coach is always looking, even after a shutout, looking for ways to improve. What you see that you like, but also what's something that needs to improve going into this week against Timberlake?
I think defensively, I think we can tackle a little bit better, and we're going to have to tackle a little bit better with Timberlake's athletes and especially their running back. But as far as assignments and coverage, I thought our defense did great. Offensively, our line play has been good all year, but I think that's definitely an emphasis this week. You're at the time of year where there's not a lot to hide. Teams know what you're going to do, and if you don't execute your game plan and your plays, then there's going to be issues. So, I think we can clean up our play up front quite a bit, and going forward, that should help us.
Yeah, and all right, let's talk about Timberlake coming to town tomorrow in a game that will feature two all-state running backs, and we've already talked about Colton Collins. They've got Hank Kraft on their team. They have those two guys are just the pretty much the top two backs in the state when it comes to yardage, but just the terms of how good both those guys are. So when you prepare for this game, and maybe Timberlake's might be thinking the same thing, is it kind of, I know it's hard to prepare because he's so good, but is it a little bit easier because you know you've got someone in the backfield that is basically almost a carbon copy of the other guy?
Well, that's it's a good thing, and it's kind of the scary thing, because Timberlake also has multiple other threats on the field. They're loaded with upperclassmen and guys that have the experience and have been through the battles. So you know who you have to stop. You know who their workhorse is. But on the other hand, in the back of your mind as a coach, you know that they know that, and what's going to be the other option, or what are they going to show you that you haven't seen. All those things play a role. But obviously, we know who the ball, or whose hands the ball is going to be in a majority of the time.
Now, they beat Leola Frederick area 14-8 last week, so their offense didn't go as much as they would probably have liked to, and maybe want to see more points scored. Does that help you out in terms of preparing for this team and seeing what Leola Frederick was able to do to kind of to hold down that Timberlake offense?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely gives you some scheme ideas, but also they played the game and they know where their weaknesses are, and they're going to adjust and they're going to make changes to adjust to that. So I think the big thing is at this point of the year, you are who you are, and you need to stick with that. I think with Stanley County, maybe offensively, I felt like I got away from our identity, maybe for a quarter, and we kind of got back to it. The deal is both of us know we have multiple films on each other. We both know what each other's going to do. It's all about execution, and whoever limits the amount of mistakes during the game is going to be the victor.
Talking with Coach Mike Kiefer here of the Lyman Raiders. They take on Timberlake 7 o'clock tomorrow night, down at Lyman High School as they host the Timberlake Panthers in the 4-5 matchup. The winner will take on either the 1-seed Hanson or the 9-seed Plaquemines, depending on how that game goes out as well. That will be then next Friday on November 5th. And that, you mentioned some of the scary things is that they've got multiple options back there. But one of the scary things is, too, that, there's not a whole lot of – yes, there are going to be wrinkles, and I know that you're going to change things up and work on things. But it really is coming down to saying, okay, who's going to be the team to limit the mistakes? There's not really there's no secrets between these two teams, right?
No, and our coaching staff, we've mentioned several times, it's a 4-5 matchup, and we feel like it's very, very evenly matched, and we don't know exactly what the weather conditions are going to be like. It's wet, damp right now. We could have a slick ball. We could have some footing issues and stuff like that. You just don't know. But the one piece of mind that we have as coaches is that our team has left it all on the field for 9 games, and there's not a doubt in my mind that they're going to do it for this game too. So, and that's all you can ask, and let the chips fall where they may. I'm extremely proud of this football team, and I know they're going to give it 110% tomorrow night.
And maybe one of the big things is that you get to play in front of the home fans. A 4-5 matchup that there's not much separation between the two teams. That could be a factor, or I think it will be a factor, but it could be a difference maker in the game, is being able to have that home fan support and a little bit noisier when Timberlake's got the ball on offense, and a little bit quieter than when you guys have the ball on offense.
Yeah, it's outside, so the noise will be a factor a little bit, but I think more of the travel and preparation, extra preparation that goes in when, they're having to come, it's going to be darn near 3 hours for them, and they got a bus ride, and that's why we played the regular season, and we earned the right to be at home, and that's where you want to be this time of year. So, I think that's where, the possible, if there is an advantage, comes in, not having to deal with the travel and being in the comfort of doing your walkthrough and your pregame in your own place.
Talking with Coach Mike Kiefer of the Lyman Raiders. Again, they take on Timberlake 4-5 matchup in the 9AA quarterfinals. That's at 7 o'clock tomorrow night down in Lyman High School. Coach, before I let you go, and I like to ask this question and see what the response is, but what's it going to take? What's the number one thing for you guys to get a win and advance to the state semifinals?
I think we talked about it earlier. Whoever limits the amount of mistakes, whether that's penalties, turnovers, missed tackles, definitely the little things are going to make the difference in this game. And whoever can kind of ride that roller coaster, because there's going to be plenty of ups and downs, and who can stay on an even keel during the game and like we said, limit the mistakes is gonna come out on top.
Coach Mike Kiefer of the Lyman Raiders, as they will take on Timberlake tomorrow night, 7 o'clock kickoff at Lyman High School in the 4-5 matchup in the 9AA quarterfinals. Coach, I appreciate the time. Thank you for doing this. Looking forward. It's going to be a fun matchup tomorrow night. Good luck, and hopefully we'll be able to talk again next week with a big win.
Thank you. I hope so as well.
We'll be back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR, live from the Long Branch. Joining me is Coach Vern Smith for the Potter County Battlers, as they will take on the Hitchcock-Tulare Patriots in a Class 9B quarterfinal action. The Battlers now 8-2 on the season. Hitchcock-Tulare got a 38-0 win over Faith. Potter County won 52-6 over Jones County in their first round matchup. So, Coach, as we welcome you in here, let's first talk about that win over Jones County. What it was a big win, 52-6 over the Coyotes. But what did you like from your team in that big win?
Well, I like that we were able to make some adjustments. Jones County came out ready to play and had a pretty good game plan as far as what they were going to try and execute and so forth. We had to make some adjustments, and that's one of the things that we've been working on this year, is being able to make adjustments on the fly, and I was happy with how we were able to do that and control them as the game went on, and we know that they were down a little bit as far as injuries and numbers and so forth and that. So it was one of those where it was good to see our kids step it up and as the game went on and adjust.
And as a 9-man school too, not having the numbers, and especially 9B school, not having that full numbers to be able to get a running clock in a playoff game is probably good injury-wise to keep guys a little bit more fresh, because this is the time of the year, it's a war of attrition to this point to try and win a state championship. But any time that you can shorten a game, whether it's a running clock or end the game early, that's good for you, correct?
Well, to a certain aspect, yes. We've had a little bit on the other end of it this year, where we've had some injuries early on to some younger players and so forth, so we didn't get a chance to play some JV games. So we used the second half of that game and even part of the second quarter as an opportunity to get some of those younger kids some valuable playing time against varsity level competition. And you always have to worry about whether ways to avoid injuries and so forth. But we had to try and get them some playing time as well, and that ended up being a good opportunity for us to do that. And then also, that running clock, it does make things go a lot faster and takes out that comeback opportunity for teams. But it was one of those that was a good all-around win for us.
Talking with Coach Smith here of the Potter County Battlers. They take on Hitchcock-Tulare Patriots at 7 o'clock tomorrow night in Gettysburg. One of your guys, your quarterback, Grant Lukens, a phenomenal athlete. We hear his name in the football field and the basketball court. He's such a good athlete for this Potter County team. What makes him so good? Tell me about how good he really is.
Well, he does a lot of things very well for us. He passes the ball really well. He runs the ball well for us. He sees the field well. Sometimes his own detriment is he tries to do a little bit too much at times, but that also makes him that much more dangerous because he's willing to take some of those chances to make plays for for his team and for the opportunity to get, in this case, move the team on in the playoffs and that. But yeah, he throws the ball really well. He gets frustrated with himself sometimes if he doesn't hit it right on spot that he wants to, and he also gets frustrated sometimes with the official or the not the officials, the receivers if it hits them in the hands and they don't catch it and that type of thing. And when it comes down to it, as far as when we're the most dangerous is when both ends of those passes are making connection, and that a lot of times opens up the run game for us as well.
Talking with Coach Smith here of the Potter County Battlers. Besides Lukens, who else do you like on this team? Give some shout outs to a couple of other guys of what makes this Potter County team so good.
I was going to say one of the things is the fact that we've got a good range of kids. We've got 7 seniors that have been very crucial for us, all the way through the year. They kind of somewhat take turns as far as which one's going to have a good game for us. Now, Cooper Logan's always been a focal point for us as far as getting him the ball on offense and what he can do on defense. He's had some of the harder hits that I've seen high school kids put on players this year and that. We've got good receivers in Colt Wiesler and Drake Bassett that either one of them can have big games as far as on the outside. And then we've got Seth Sharp and Colin Arbach at ends that have had big games for us as far as in the middle as well. So we kind of spread it around a lot, and that I think that's one of the things that makes us dangerous. And you never know exactly who's going to have that big game. Defensively, we have to have where all of our players have big games. We've been fortunate enough to get a lot more turnovers or force more turnovers this year than what we have in the past years, and definitely more than what we have turned the ball over this year. So that's a definite positive for us.
All right, so now let's move into tomorrow's game against Hitchcock-Tulare Patriots, 2 teams that know each other well. 4th game of the year for both the teams. You guys won 44-38 over the Patriots. Both teams went to 3-1 at that point. It was a 24-14 lead at halftime for Hitchcock-Tulare. You guys came out, took a 6-point lead after the third quarter, ended up winning by 6, 44-38 in a shootout of a game. What was your takeaway from that game all the way back in the early part of September?
Well, it's one of those that both teams are explosive. Both teams have they've got some size, they've got some speed. Both teams can pass the ball. Both teams can run the ball. It's one of those that I guess trying to minimize which big plays each team has. If we can, we're a big play team, and so are they. If we can minimize their big plays and make them have to grind it out as far as converting on 3rd downs and 4th downs and that kind of thing, I think it's a huge advantage for us. If they can do the same thing against us, I think that's going to be a huge advantage for them. It's one of those where in that first game they won the first half up to the last few seconds of the first half. We scored with no time on the clock, and then got the extra point to pull ourselves within 10 going into the second half. And then second half we played much better than what we did the first half, and we're able to take that lead and hold on to that lead. And I think if you were to talk to their coach, they'd say just the opposite, that they outplayed us that first half, and then they were happy with that first half and definitely unhappy with the second half. So it's one of those that in this playoff game, it's going to come down to which team is able to, I guess, win more halves or more quarters or more plays.
This Hitchcock-Lair team, when you look at their stats, they like to throw the ball with several different guys. There's a couple guys that had, a couple passes in there, but there's a couple guys that have got about 30 pass attempts. Jack Boomsma threw all but one pass attempt for Hitchcock-Lair the last time you guys played. Eric Salmon, their running back. But do they, talk about what their style of offense is? Is it something that keeps you on your toe because you're not really sure who's going to do what with the ball, whether they're going to run or pass the ball?
Yes, it is. I mean, they line up in a lot of different formations, so you have to be paying attention to what's going on and who they might be trying to get the ball to. They, like you said, they've got a lot of different people that they do get the ball to, so that makes them a lot similar to us. If you can catch them in the formation and know what they're going to run, it makes it a whole lot easier. In their case, they do a lot of things that are a little bit different. They've got a couple of really shifty guys that if you, well, they may go into a pile coming from the backside and they may pop out the side, or they may come out the front. You've got to finish plays against them, and that's something that we're focusing on this week, is concentrating on finishing tackles and on defense and finishing blocks on offense. So I think that's something that makes them dangerous, is the fact that they do have so many people that they're willing to get the ball to, and I've seen more than just the two people pass the ball, and definitely different number of receivers now. So I think we definitely have to be on our toes and ready for them.
And from that game, that fourth game of the season, to last week when they got their first round playoff win, what have you seen maybe that's changed from what they did back in the early part of the season?
Well, I think they're being a little bit more powerful running the ball. They've got some agile big players that they've been able to use to their advantage. The part that's making them hard to scout is I know they've got a couple of players that didn't play in the last couple of games, and I expect them to be back against us. And that's not seeing exactly what they've done with them makes it a little bit harder to plan for. But we also know that they're there, and they played against us the first time, so we definitely have to have that mindset open mindset, open vision, as far as being able to see the whole thing, what's going on, instead of having tunnel vision that, okay, this is what they're exactly going to do. And I think they're obviously, them coming up a little bit short against us the first time makes them adjust probably a little bit more than teams that would have got the win the first time. So that's one of the things that we've been trying to do, is saying, okay, we know what they did against us first time, but we also know that they're going to make changes, and we've got to make some changes to adjust, because they're making adjustments to stop our offense. So therefore, it could be whole new ball game, and might be one of those low scoring games. Who knows?
Talking with Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers. They take on Hitchcock-Lair tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and that is up in Gettysburg. The Battlers will have a home game to take on this Hitchcock-Lair Patriots squad for the second time this year. Coach, before I let you go, what's it going to take? What's that top thing for you guys to get a win against Hitchcock-Lair and advance to the semifinals next week?
I think we've got to be consistent and execute our type of game. Sometimes we get out of that trying to do too much, or trying to do things on the spur of the moment, so to speak. And I think the consistency is one of the things we need to be able to do, whether it be offense or defense, and just take care of our own positions and trust our teammates and play as one unit out there.
Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers as they take on the Hitchcock-Lair Patriots in the 9B quarterfinal matchup tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with kickoff up in Gettysburg. Coach, I appreciate the time. Thank you for doing this, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pier. You know, the LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pier. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner, Wednesday evening.
evenings. When you want the best prices and best selection, go to Wagner Auto in Pierre. The certified sales staff at Wagner Auto will provide you service after the sale and how to get easy financing. Check out their website, WagnerAuto.com, or stop in. They have the best prices and won't be undersold. Wagner Auto has the region's largest selection with over 280 new and quality pre-owned vehicles. GM certified pre-owned vehicles give you peace of mind with their 12-month or 12,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty and 5-year or 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Log on to WagnerAuto.com or stop by Wagner Auto in Pierre, South Dakota's oldest auto dealer since 1907.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
And we welcome you back one more time here live at the Long Branch as we want to thank our coaches here this evening, Coach Steve Steele, the Pierre Governor football team, Coach Tiffany Stosher of the Pierre volleyball, as well as Coach Mike Kiefer of the Lyman Raiders and Coach Vern Smith of the Potter County Battlers. The Governors will take on Watertown tomorrow at 7 o'clock with the pregame starting at 6:30, kickoff at 7 o'clock here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. The next time the Pierre volleyball team will play will be on a Tuesday against the Sioux Falls Jefferson Cavaliers. Coverage will start at 6:40 with first serve at 7 o'clock. And then for the Lyman Raiders and the Potter County Battlers, Lyman will play at 7 o'clock against Timber Lake, and the Potter County Battlers will take on Hitchcock-Tulare. That will also start at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening for the quarterfinals of the football playoffs. Same time, same place next week, Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 here live in the Long Branch, as we are every Wednesday for Coach's Corner, as we will return next week with more coaches and a lot more fun with talking football. And again, thanks to the Long Branch for hosting again for another week. We have World Series coverage for you now as we will take you out to Houston for Game 2. You've been listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch has been brought to you by Kruger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Birding Electric, Gales Gas, Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner on KCCR is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Jane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. Join us every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 6:30 for Coach's Corner, live at the Long Branch in Pierre or on air at KCCR or kccrradio.com. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.